words upon my tongue.
You will never be the same.
And with the full catastrophe, he didn't mean it was all bad.
God that I worship has a way of saying, don't play with me.
I invite you to the dance with the Lord of the dance.
God didn't call America to do what she's doing in the world now.
Please dance.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Untitled. I'm Pastor Tim Gross of Unfailing Love Church Fort Wayne,
I'm Pastor Mallory.
also of
Unfailing Love Church.
of Fort Wayne.
And I'm Pastor Don Van Antwerpen of Unfinished Community, way out in the distant wilds of Japan. Yay!
Yay, international things!
Hey.
If you joined us over the past couple of weeks, we kind of explained what this is. This is a new kind of joint venture between our two congregations, which is kind of one congregation in a way as
It's
well.
one big, huge
It's-
community.
It's an amorphous Jesus blob.
Hey, and
That
you
is
know
a
what?
great way to
It's the
describe
best
it.
kind of amorphous blob to be.
It's a great way to describe it.
Exactly. We get a +1 to exegesis.
Yes.
I like it.
But yeah, we just wanted to pick this back up. We had a really good time doing it last time, as you have probably figured out after watching the first two-part episode.
Went a little bit long on that one.
Yeah. We're going to try to cut that down this time.
Yeah.
So hopefully you won't be here for quite as long. You don't
Yeah.
need as many snacks.
No, I mean,
But
hey, I'm not going to judge if you want to have a whole plate of snacks, man. More power to you. That's how I like
if you just have the layout in front of you, it's all good.
We could get the the separated tray even.
Oh yeah, the little separated plate. It's great.
I like to show up on the days where I'm not preaching with a big old bag of popcorn and just kind of Michael Jackson that thing.
Yes.
Like they can tell you when your grammar's wrong.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I guess we should just go ahead and jump into it, right?
Yeah. So today we're continuing with working off of the lectionary, which I think we're going to stick with for at least a good while here, because the lectionary has been really good about giving us some useful texts.
Yeah, it really has.
definitely.
Go figure. It's almost like it's a tool that was designed for purposeful use.
What?
I know, shocking that us Protestants actually do things for good reasons.
And I'll say it again and again. The evangelical church did not tell me that there was anything good about, just the actual denomination. So that was fun.
Yeah, I mean, what am I going to say? We're still relative babies. We've only been doing this since the 1600s.
Only since.
Yeah. I mean, but we did learn from Papa Catholicism, so,
There
You
you go.
got to learn from somewhere, right?
All right, so today we are getting into Luke chapter 14, verses 25 through 34, which, as a fun fair warning, Tim, there, you had explained to me that this was something you'd seen used quite aggressively that I had actually never encountered being used in that way. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with this.
Yeah, we'll get into it once we read it and, give them a little bit of context.
I'm excited. I just want to kind of, grease the wheels a little, get you interested.
Hey,
right.
I'm good with that.
And then sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. You're all you.
I was going to say, now for the most interesting part, reading directly from the Bible.
Right.
All right, so we got Luke 14, 25 to 35. The header it's given is the cost of discipleship. I'll give you a heads up. The headers, later editions, not part of the real text. Anyway, going on. Luke 14, 25 to 35. Now, or 25 to 34, sorry. Now large crowds were traveling with him, and he turned and said to them, "Whoever comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and even life itself, cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not carry the cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not first sit down and estimate the cost to see whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it will begin to ridicule him, saying, 'This fellow began to build and was not able to finish.' Or what king going out to wage war against another king will not sit down first and consider whether he's able with 10,000 to oppose the one who comes against him with 20,000? If he cannot, then while the other is still far away, he sends a delegation and asks for the terms of peace. So therefore, none of you can become my disciple if you do not give up all your possessions." I want to stop it here at 33 because 34 goes on to a different topic. So we'll stop.
Okay.
All right. So first reactions. What are you guys feeling on this one?
First off, you never want to get made fun of for not being able to finish.
Yeah.
That early in the, really this early in?
If he didn't say it, I would.
Yeah, exactly. See,
Wow.
you did. Anybody watching at this point knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Like, come on. If you watch the
Now,
first two
let's
parts.
be glad, by the way, that we're using the NRSVUE, the new modern updated version, because some of the older ones, like maybe the King James, might say, "For which of you intending to erect a tower does not sit down first and wonder if they can finish?" Word choice in the modern translations does make things a little smoother.
Okay, fair.
I'm just gonna be quiet for a minute.
Yeah, So
Yeah.
that's first reaction.
But real first reaction
This is church, by the way, I promise.
Yeah, it is, I promise. Real first reaction is, it seems pretty self-explanatory to me.
Okay.
But, this is guy brought up in church. I do at least have some understanding of what the Bible says, whether or not it was correctly put forward to me.
Yeah. So you had pointed out, as I mentioned earlier in a fun little sting teaser to kind of feed our way into the verse, that there was a way that this had been used that shocked me, but you'd come in a few times. So what do we say?
Yeah, it's I was kind of letting you lead into it. So the fun part of being a progressive Christian pastor is that the evangelical conservative side hates you because you're too progressive, and the non-believer side hates you because you still are talking about Christianity. And from both sides, I have heard the argument of, we come from a place where we teach that Jesus was all about love and acceptance and taking care of your neighbor. And it's come from both sides of, well, doesn't he in Luke 14:26 tell you to hate people? And as you said, makes no sense in the actual context. But reading it literally, I guess I can see where people come from, but...
Yeah. And no, that is one of those where, now that you pointed out, I can definitely see how it could be used that way. First off, I'm gonna point out a couple things. One that may surprise you. I am not going to screen share the Greek today.
Wow.
And the reason for that is because the Greek does not help us here. You would think that, okay, this clearly has to be like a mistranslation or a vague translation of a more complicated concept or something like that. And that's pretty straightforward. Like the word hate here matches up to the Greek word pretty accurately. So language will not be our help in understanding this text here. However,
I knew there's something.
I know.
Of course, I'm a fat guy. There's always a but.
I didn't say it.
I need to remember that.
So this is a great example of how we love to say the Bible says when we are looking at a verse or even a word. When if we even bother to read around it a little bit, start to realize that there's something totally different going on here.
Right.
The first point I want to bring to your attention is the larger kind of narrative context of what's happening here. So simply because Jesus said the phrase, "Whoever comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and yes, even life itself cannot be my disciple," doesn't necessarily mean that literal thing that we would understand in English. Not just because of language, but because of context. So the narrative, kind of social historical context right here is that we are en route pretty much towards the cross. Jesus knows where he's headed, and he's having a moment here where he's talking about, and this is why we have that later editorial addition in the section header, the cost of discipleship.
Right.
He's talking about, hey, this journey, what I'm on, what all of you on, does not come without cost. But once you see that word cost, you start to realize that even in English, the term hate has a nuance of meaning that we rarely ever discuss. We often consider hate as a verb, right? Like
Right.
an active thing. I hate this. Something that is a motion from me to some other person or thing. And so we read verse 26. Whoever comes to me and does not hate father and mother. Okay, well, all right. Well, I get pissed at my parents. Wife and children. Okay, well, my wife decided to worship other gods or something, and my kids are just little shits. Okay. Brothers and sisters. Well, sibling rivalry is a thing, and life. But hang on, life.
Right.
Like, why? When did life have a different belief set than me? Like suddenly, one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah.
We're now in a place where hate used in the way we have thought of to use it, without nuance, without definition, suddenly doesn't line up here.
Right.
Right.
It lines up most of the way, but like a 2-year-old with one of those geometric shape blocks trying to pound a circle into a square hole, it's gonna nudge in slightly, but it's gonna wind up stuck there and not go all the way through.
You know, sometimes if you push it hard enough, it might go through.
Listen, we're not talking about your childhood right now. We're just-
I was going to make a joke about our original joke about building towers, but I digress.
I heard it as I was saying it, and so I'm glad he didn't go there.
I tried not to, and then he pointed it out anyway.
Come on. Like, what do you think I went to seminary for? How to interpret things.
Fair, fair.
Gotta learn how to make those jokes.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
What do you
Get
think we do in
interesting,
preaching
guys.
class anyway? So let's talk about what hate is, though.
Right.
Because we have hate as we've come to understand it in the kind of American paradigm, which is as a weapon.
Right.
Mhm.
We don't often talk about hate as a received emotional state,
It's true.
That's very
as
true.
in the kind of allergic reaction to oppression, if you will. Because we talk about I hate as something I am doing as an action, but I
Right.
feel hate is
Yeah.
often a reaction.
It
to
can be
something
very
that
easily.
happened. And when we're talking about things in the context of cost, like the cost of discipleship, the cost of following Jesus's path of, to coin a phrase from some wise people, unfailing love.
Hey,
Hey, got to name drop the thing.
shameless plug.
Right.
So, we talk about it in that context, like to continue to borrow lines from random places. Y'all ever seen the Amazon? Well, it's Amazon. The TV show Good Omens.
I've heard of it.
I've heard of
I
it.
know
yeah.
David Tennant's in it, who is fantastic, but I've never
David
actually
Tennant
gotten
v.
to watch
Martin Sheen, always a good pairing. Based
Oh,
on
yeah.
based on a Neil Gaiman Terry Pratchett combo, which is, if you haven't done it yet, go see it. But
like we have something to add to the list.
yeah,
Yep.
there is one scene where Martin Sheen's angel Aziraphale and David Tennant's demon Crowley are standing and watching the crucifixion happen.
Oh,
Mhm.
man.
And the demon asks, what did he say that got him all upset anyway? The angel responds, he said they should love everybody. And the demon says, oh yeah, that'll do it.
That's fair.
That everybody part that really
Yeah.
pisses
Really
people
throws
off.
people through.
And that's exactly really what's happening here. Jesus is
Mhm.
talking about this approach of love, of compassion, even and especially to those people that we've long been taught should not be treated compassionately.
Yep.
We human beings have a tendency to want to dehumanize
Mm.
those who we feel squicky about, who disagree with us. So many of us don't feel that we can function properly as ourselves, have confidence in ourselves, if we can't bring someone else down to bring ourselves up.
Which is
Mhm.
sad.
It is sad. It really is. I have a pastor out here who I've had some dealings with who is exactly like that.
Oh man.
Yeah, like it's not limited to the rank and file. Like there are full-on pastors, seminary trained individuals who are the same way.
Yeah.
It is a
Yeah,
human.
we've run into a couple of those along the way.
Yeah.
How few? So I could talk about like original sin. I could talk about that Protestant concept of total depravity, which, oh man, is wildly misunderstood. But the
Right.
basic arc of it
Yep.
being everything we do is touched in some way by sin.
Right.
Mhm.
So our insecurities, for example, can turn into biases and bigotries and hatreds.
Right. Very
Are
easily.
major sins simply by not being maintained and upkept. And that's kind
Right.
of what we talk about when we see people who are insecure, who want to bring other people down. And that turns into hatred of groups that we disagree with simply because they are groups that we are not a part of.
Yeah.
You know, straight people hating on the LGBT community has its origins in the same mental processes as fans of sports team A hating on fans of sports team B. Like, I hate you because you're not on my team.
Yep.
So
And I need to hate
stupid.
someone who's not on my team because otherwise, how do I know my team's the best?
Ah,
Right,
yes.
of course.
Of
'Cause
course.
that's what makes your team the best.
Exactly. And Jesus' argument from the beginning was screw teams
Right.
and take care of everybody regardless. That's why he hung out with the prostitutes and the lepers and the tax collectors, because they were the
Yeah.
ones who everybody hated.
Right.
And
They seem to forget
here,
that part a lot.
Yeah.
yeah,
They forget that part quite often.
we do skip that. I mean, yeah, try to bring a prostitute to church in the evangelical community. See how well that goes.
Not well.
I don't know, some of them pastors doing it pretty often. Anyway,
Well, fair.
yeah,
We
no,
don't pull punches on this show, do we?
No.
I never have, and I'll level with you. It's gotten me in a lot of trouble.
Hey,
No way.
not with
I'm
us.
so surprised.
Yeah, no, I calls it like I sees it, which is usually that Christians in leadership positions are kind of being assholes. Anyway,
Yeah, fair.
you know, so what we're getting out of this passage is basically, like I said, the end result of that approach to screw teams, be loving, which
Yeah.
is, yeah, everybody's gonna kind of hate you.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And this is where the American church environment, mostly the evangelicals, but it's not limited to them because, hey, I've seen this one in a lot of places,
Right.
tend to get twisted around completely backwards. Because this is the one thing that I don't think anybody who wrote this book originally could have anticipated. And that is the persecution complex of modern American brand Christianity.
Isn't it a thing? Isn't it just wonderful
It really
to watch?
is. And it's hard because so much of the history of our faith, particularly as it had emerged from Judaism post Jesus, is
Mhm.
rooted in actual persecution.
Right.
Yeah.
But there hasn't been any of that pretty much
A
since
long time.
Constantine.
Yeah,
Right.
in a very, very long time.
Yeah. But it formed those foundations that we keep reaching back to, like Felicity and Perpetua, all the old martyrs, which, by the way, fun fact, if you want to get up on your readings in church history, which I actually have a book in the other room called Readings in Church History, actually written by a member of my former congregation, which goes to
Nice.
people I've worked with. Anyway, most of or a good number of the particularly famous martyrs and leaders of the early church before Constantine, they were chicks.
Mhm.
Nice.
So the whole suffer not a woman to be in public and hide her and maybe force her to not have abortions or whatever. That whole mindset is not endemic to the original church. Anyway, I digress, as I do.
Do you digress? That's the real question. Is
Do I
do you?
know? Do I know? I get off topic in very on topic ways. We'll say that.
Right. Yeah, no, 100% related in any way, shape, or form you could really think of that whole love everybody thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that counts too.
Yeah. And when we get down to it, then this passage here, whoever comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife, children, brothers and sisters, and yes, even life itself, is less I hate you in the Anakin Skywalker-esque approach. And more, I hate it in the I hate that and everything related to it because the millennial sense, if you will.
Oh,
Right.
I was just gonna say my constant life.
Screw that in particular kind of sense.
Yeah. This you could argue this is the most millennial verse in the Bible.
It really is.
Because when he's using the term hate, that's what he's talking about is, it's less the I hate you because you're different than me and I want to lightsaber your limbs off, and more I hate it because I'm 40 years old and I can't even live in my own country because student loans are terrible and I can't buy a house or hold a family without them worrying about getting shot because life sucks. Because I decided to follow a path that does good work for God but doesn't pay anything. And no, I'm not talking about myself at all.
No, not at all.
No,
Not
none of
at
us are talking
all.
about not getting paid for this.
Oh.
Yeah, the joys of doing ministry in a capitalist system when we're I use the term anti-capitalist to describe Jesus as a convenience because we know capitalism wasn't around at the time, but I don't want to be a pedant.
Of course not.
Yeah. So that pretty much sums it up there. And his examples he uses after that about the guy building a tower, we're going to use that word.
Yes.
Right.
Tower.
And
Building.
the king shooting off his little soldiers to war. We use these different analogies here. I just like seeing what I can do to see how much I can get her to break. That's fun.
I hate you guys so much.
We didn't plan this, I promise.
I figure if you can't laugh, you shouldn't be doing this.
No. Gosh, if anybody out there's thinking about doing this, if you can't laugh at the worst things that can be said to you, don't step into this field.
Yes. Anyway, all of these examples that he's doing here are basically pointing to the same part. Jesus is saying here, yeah, you guys want to join up? Here's your membership dues, and they freaking hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They suck.
Yeah, they're not great.
Yeah, it's not great. You're not gonna like it. You will suffer.
A lot.
Yeah. And if you're not cool with that, if you're going to spend all of your time arguing about how Jesus wants you to not pay off other people's debts so that you can have more money, for example, you're not on the right team.
No.
That sounds familiar.
That sounds, reasonably, socially apt for the time at which we're recording this anyway.
Crazy. I can't imagine what we could be talking about.
Yeah, I can't imagine people getting mad at, say, like the forgiveness of loans when you're part of a culture that celebrates the Jubilee.
Right. Or at least, not charging interest on those loans, right?
Or, based on the entire theology of unmerited grace as like forgiveness for all things.
Man.
Right. Man.
I swear I should know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
I'm pulling blank.
It's weird people getting pissed about debts being repaid when you're in a religion that's based on you getting forgiven for a debt that couldn't be repaid.
We made a TikTok on that one. That's one of my favorite ones we've made recently.
Yep.
Yeah, like this is part of the reason why I never got into the whole TikTok thing. Not because I'm, a big fat weird looking dude, but mostly because to me it feels like kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. Like
It is.
such an easy point to make. Why do I have to be doing this?
Because no one else sees it sometimes.
Oh,
Like
Lord.
it's shocking how many people will come onto our TikTok page that we do have, and it shocks me every time of like, man, I didn't know churches could be like this. I'm like, this is what churches are supposed to be like.
Exactly. And
Hard.
I will say this here as clearly and unambiguously as possible, and in a nice contained soundbite so you can cut it and put it on TikTok. Not only is this what churches are supposed to be like, but most of the mainstream churches have been like this the whole time.
What? We were lied to.
Yeah.
What you're telling me is conservative evangelical Christianity is not all of Christianity?
It's a radical outlier.
Whoa. Mind blown.
I know. It's almost like a religion based entirely on hate only survives because it gets great publicity.
Man, I guess no publicity is bad publicity.
Well, morally speaking, no publicity right now is really good publicity.
I meant flip it. My brain
Yeah, it just didn't connect. She hit the wrong button there.
Which, as with many of the arguments I made in high school, is exactly why I'm happy to not be popular.
There you go.
It's fair. It's fair.
All right. Anything else we wanted to rip apart here? I think it's pretty straightforward. Other than that,
There's one more thing.
I will leave verse 33 out there just in case anybody's feeling particularly capitalist this morning. So therefore, none of you can become my disciple if you do not give up all your possessions. Looking at you, Osteen. Looking at you.
Ooh, calling out names now.
That was the last thing we had.
Yeah.
Was, do you really have to be destitute to be a real Christian?
You know, the term real Christian is thrown around argumentatively a lot. I'm not going to say you have to be completely destitute in order to be a viable Christian, because we live in a capitalist world now. And, you know, in those days, it was possible to give up all your possessions and just follow somebody and farm and get fish out to sea and do whatever and still survive just fine.
Right.
The mechanics of that have changed somewhat in the last, 2,000 years. So I would be hesitant to say that it's wrong, because it's not wrong.
Right.
But one of the best ways, one of my mentor pastors back in New Jersey put it this way. He said, you don't necessarily have to be destitute per se, but if you're ending the year on a profit and not taking care of folk with the leftover, then you're not in the right place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was kind of what I was.
I think that's the big key is,
Yeah.
what are you doing with
your
the
extra,
excess?
Yeah.
Right. And that's like, you know, as a parent with kids and stuff like that, like you do have to calculate a little bit of the future. Like, you know,
Right.
I live in a place where even public school has to be paid for, so like I have to make sure money set aside for that. But that piece aside, if you're looking to economic growth and, dare I say, hoarding your wealth, you're not doing it right. You're doing it wrong. You know, your goal should be to end the year as close to a zero balance as you can. And if you are coming in hot with extra cash in the back pocket, well, I can pretty much guarantee you that wherever you're at, there's a homeless shelter up or down the street.
Food shelters.
Drive past plenty of them on all of our drives around.
And if you ain't got one, then, well, hey, I hope you got a lot in that pocket and build your own.
There
Hey,
you go.
it's always an option, right?
You know, or
Our
find
city
some-
even has the cool little food pantry things.
Oh yeah, we have like food pantries on a lot of the corners in our city.
like the converted neighborhood free library things that are converted into food pantries.
Basically, they're just like Rubbermaid shelves, though.
Yeah,
in
like the
our
big
city.
storage shelves.
Yeah,
really cool.
It's a good idea.
Mhm.
But you can do stuff like that. You can just find someone who needs extra meals. Like, you know, this is why local churches were often, like, within the capitalist system for a time at least, were a good thing to have, is because they were a place where we would all come together. We'd pool our money, we'd pool our resources. That's what tithing is for.
Right.
Yeah.
You give your excess to the church, and then the church acts as an agent to say, okay, who needs it? We got it.
Right.
And that's how a church is supposed to function. Still looking at you, Osteen. Still looking at you.
Not closing your doors during a large tropical storm coming through.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, that is the end result of that, is you need to be thinking in those terms. If you have any left over, who can I help and how can I help them?
Right, exactly.
And if I can't do it myself, let me find someone who can and give it to them.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So I think that is the extent of what we wanted to dig into for today.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's for those of you who are looking for the pluggables portion of our regular scheduled programming, I would love to invite any and all of you to participate in Unfinished Community. And I know y'all are thinking, didn't he just say he was in Japan? Yes, but as Tim and Mallory here can attest to, we run a bit of a hybrid online organization. About half of our people are here in Japan, about half of them aren't. We run everything off of a Discord server, and hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You do not have to necessarily be a member of one church in order to be part of this other one too. So you can be in both. You can be in more than one. That's the fun thing about both Discord servers and churches, is you are always welcome anywhere you want to be. And so up on our Discord server right now, we got daily devotionals going, which I try to be just as fun as what we're doing here. We're currently taking apart the Apostles' Creed, which is a whole lot of confusing fun. news discussions, things like that. Fun fact: we're actually going to be starting a what's the word? I'm blanking on the name of it. Dungeons and Dragons group here, actually, on our Discord server here at the end of this month. So
You're so excited.
I know.
Love D&D.
I love that.
Love it so much.
This is a surprise even for those who they didn't know I was going to announce that one. Yeah.
Yeah, you've thrown me off, Don. You've thrown me off.
Limited enrollment. So if you want to beat Tim and Mallory to the punch, then I suggest
You better get
an
their
eye on that
pass.
Discord server. You know. We also do events like where we get together and we watch movies and generally make like Mystery Science Theater 3000 over them. We alternate between, when we do them, we alternate between hilariously terrible Christian movies, Christian, I mean air quotes there, and surprisingly good Christian movies, which
Nice.
does happen. And I think, assuming the plans don't change, which, hey, it's a church, it might. Our next one, which we haven't put on the schedule yet, we're actually going to be looking at I think it was 2014 Russell Crowe Noah movie.
Ah, okay.
Which always shocks people when I tell them is, narrative adjustments aside for pacing and for Hollywood, surprisingly accurate.
That's awesome.
Interesting.
I don't think there is necessarily a plot line of Noah trying to kill Hermione's babies, but I'll allow for some narrative alteration here.
Just kidding, I love Hermione.
Mostly because I'm just happy to see Emma Watson in anything because she's amazing.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. You guys got your pluggables as well?
Yeah, absolutely. You can check out everything that's for Unfailing Love over on our website at ulcfw.com. All the links, I'm sure, will be
Mine
down.
too. Mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll all be down there somewhere.
Yeah.
But we encourage those of you that are watching off of our channel, please join the Discord. We're on there. We're active.
Ash is
You're
on there.
not gonna be the only one on there. We want to hear from you as well.
Definitely.
No, the more the merrier on a Discord server, in my opinion.
Here.
So definitely check us out. Check out Unfinished Communities website that'll be down there. Check out the Discord. Come check us out on TikTok. We're always making silly little things to put up.
Kind of weird, but we are too. So
Yeah,
it's fun.
But if you're interested in loving your neighbor, which somebody said that.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Who was that?
Oh, right, that Jesus guy.
A bearded gentleman with the dark skin and the holes in the hands. That guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
one.
that's the one.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But if you're interested in that, come check us out. We're weird, as you just saw in this video, but
We'll be there.
we'll love you no matter what. So
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So everybody, peace out and have a good week.
yeah, thanks for watching
Adios.
Untitled. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.